Hello, Mónica, Andrés, Iván.
Hello, teacher. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you doing?
Good evening, teacher. How are
Good,
you?
teacher. Thank you.
Good. Okay, let's wait some minutes for your classmates.
Yes, teacher.
Hello, Carol.
Hello, teacher.
Well, let's start. Okay. We are going to review the concepts, and at the end, we will have a short quiz about all the concepts that we're going to review tonight. So what you see on screen is the two branches of social linguistics. So Carol, could you please read the information?
Okay, teacher. Macro sociolinguistics studies the limitation of the speech communities. Studies attitudes, language shift, and maintenance. Micro sociolinguistics studies interactions in classes and studies the correlation between language varieties, patterns of use, and genders, class, and age.
Thank you, Carol. Okay, here we have a map of different accents in USA. So as macro-sociolinguistics studies or tries to delimit regions according to varieties. So those are some of the maps that they do, right? Or this map here that is the delimitation of different dialects in UK. But what you guys will do in your classes might be micro-social linguistics, that is to study the interaction between students and between you and your students in class. So who makes most of the talking, what questions are asked, who gives the floor, who takes the floor, what words are used to address people, who talks to who. Yeah, so if we analyze the interaction that we have in classroom, we can find out if we are treating students equally and we are giving them enough opportunities for all of them to participate. So, for example, Ivan, could you please describe what you see on the pictures?
Uh, is some teacher asking about uh, exercise,
Exactly.
and someone give a good answer, but someone else give a better answer than the other one.
It actually is the same person. The name is
Uh,
Andrew.
I didn't read that.
Okay. What else do you notice, Andres Mayor? What else do you notice in the pictures? What else is happening besides that the teacher is asking the same person and the student answers correctly? We can hear you, Andres.
Can you listen?
Yes,
Teacher, can you listen to me?
yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I think maybe she is the teacher is motivating some her students when they reply in a good way, right? I don't know, maybe she's having some class that is entertained and they look very happy. I don't know, maybe I can see she's smiling and all the kids are participating actively.
Okay, thank you, Ivan.
Teacher, sorry, I didn't pay attention at the first time, but when I was when I was reading the lecture, I talk about that. There are two different exercises, but the teacher is using two different expressions to congratulate the student. So I don't it's a math class, but could be a way to share the different ways to classify that the answer is good.
Felicits the students.
Okay, Monica, with Ivan.
Teacher, about this picture, I observe a teacher who does her participatory class. She looks happy.
Yes, but all the students want to participate, right? But
Yes.
she asks the two questions to the same student. Imagine that this happens on every time she tries to correct the answers for the exercises. So she asks the same student to get the answers. So as a social linguistics studies the interaction, the idea is, let me show you. In that case, if in that case, who makes most of the talking and who gives the floor and who answers the questions? In the example that we just had.
Well, teacher, even when was other were other students raising the hand, the teacher selects just one student. And even when she had the opportunity that there were other students that wanted to give their opinion or their participation, so the answers was given by the same person, and the teacher was selecting just one student.
Exactly. When you say select, is the same as saying give the floor. So the teacher,
Teacher.
the teacher is the one who gives the floor or who selects the person who a person to answer. So most of the talking is done by the teacher and the student that is selected or that is given the floor, right? So it is important that we analyze the discourse and interaction that we have in classes to find out if we give students the same opportunity to participate, because that might affect their learning. So how do you know if students are doing well if you don't give them the floor in an equal way and you always ask the same person? So
How do we want, teacher, sorry? How do we know what?
if all the students are learning when the teacher is always asking the questions to the same person, so you don't know if the others are able to answer correctly if they are learning or not, because it's the interaction, the communication is just between one student and the teacher.
Yes.
Hmm? Okay, that is something that social linguistics studies in the branch that is called micro-social linguistics. And is connected with the idea of power. Or you study that power is the control that someone has over the outcomes of others. So in that case, who has the control?
The teacher.
The teacher has the control. Because she's the one who he's the one who points to the students to answer, who chooses the students, who gives the floor. So that is connected to power in the classroom and to classroom interaction and to micro social linguistics. Okay, and these are some of the words that are connected to the topic of power when we study classroom interaction. So in the example that we just studied, the teacher positions one student, that is Andrea, positions her as the one who can answer, favors only Andrea to answer the question, and position less powerfully to the rest of the class because it's not given the floor. So it's like saying the rest cannot answer. Other words connected are negotiate subject position discursively. I remember that in a class, in a virtual class, I had a student who loved to answer all the questions. And once one of the classmates typed in the chat box, please let that others answer. That is one way to negotiate the position and to reject the power that student was having in class. Okay, take the floor, which is, anybody has a question so far? Okay, take the floor, that is when the person talks. Some students talk without raising the hand, for example. So it's a way to empower themselves, to position themselves as somebody who can answer the questions correctly in class. Give the floor, that is what teachers usually do. Empower somebody. So this can be done not only by teachers, but also by classmates. So classmates can approve or disapprove what someone says. And in that way, they are empowering the other student if they are approving. Okay, and in the case of silence, silence also has a role. If a teacher asks a question and nobody answers during the whole class, it might be that students are forcing the teacher to do something different. So silence also has a role in power and discourse in class. Do you have questions about this?
No, teacher.
No, teacher, thank you.
Okay, so let's move to the other. Okay, Daliana, could you please read these 3 questions?
How the interaction that takes place in the class affects the potential English language learning of the students. Do classroom interactions in course 11B lead to inequality in the classroom? Do classroom interactions in course 11B lead to fair learning opportunities?
Okay, thank you. So those are questions that could be asked by teachers in a class when interaction is not working well. When the teacher plans a class and tries to have a result, but is not achieving the purpose because something is going on with the interaction or with the relationship between the students that is reflected in the interaction that is going on in class. Andres, you have had experience, you have experience teaching, and also Ivan, if I'm not wrong. Have you ever faced any situation that is connected to this topic
Yes, I've had, for example, when in the first case, in the first example you gave us, when the teacher is having some interaction with the students in just one way, maybe with just one student. Um, this happen a lot when you have some students that maybe have some uh, kind of level that is higher than the others, and maybe you can start to interact with them more than with other students. Maybe the other students just once some students told me that they want to be taken into account because they could notice that I was always speaking or asking question to the same person, yeah, because he was a native speaker, a native student who in this class. Um, and they start uh, to ask me for they want to participate too. So maybe I think we have to take these situations um, into account because it's important. Not I don't know. Um, that's it.
That's a very good example, Andres. That happens a lot in a language class. If somebody has a
Yes.
better English level, the other students are more afraid of speaking. And if they do that, if they don't practice or if they don't speak, they are positioned themselves as students who have less power than the one that has more knowledge of the language.
Yeah, the power. Mm-hmm.
Teacher, but
Ivan?
is even without the potential English level. I mean, there are people in class in different classes that or groups that have the potential to take the word, but even when they don't know about the topic, they put the other students in the same situation. So uh, is in equal is in the same way. I mean, when you are with someone that know too much about English, or when you are with someone that don't know a lot about English but want to know and is asking and asking and asking and asking, so that person take that place too.
Mhm. In that case, it's not only the teacher who has the power to control the interaction, but the students too, when they take the floor, when they just start speaking. As you mentioned, some students do that without knowing the answers. It's because they want to position themselves as students who participate and who might know the answers. But the rest of the class can disapprove the student's action, right? And is in that sense, identities are created as the student who always participates but doesn't know the answer, or the student who always participates because has a very good English, or the student who never participates because doesn't feel comfortable with the English level, or etc. There are different ways to um, gain a position or trying to empower yourself and try to identify yourself as somebody who knows or somebody who doesn't know. Good examples. Any other example related to this topic of power and classroom interaction? We usually have turn taken, right? Turn taken, that is in our classes, for example, we have raised the hand to have the turn to talk. So turn taken is a concept connected to the idea of interaction. Okay, so here we have other concepts that we're going to review that we studied last week. So we studied the concept of code. Let's see, Paola, could you
Teacher.
mention some code?
Yes, teacher. Good evening,
Hello.
teacher. Code is when when two or yes, two or three or more people communicate with each other. The system they use, they call code, for example, switching code switching.
Code
I don't
switching.
remember well. Code switching. Yes, code switching is a linguistic phenomenon which occurs multilingual speech of groups.
Okay, very good. So as you mentioned, it's a system that is used for communication. What, so anybody who can give examples of different codes? Mónica, Daliana, Caro.
Teacher, well, are some codes that are related to the population or related to the, for example, a specific profession, the systems engineers?
That is
They all,
registered. Sorry to interrupt.
right, yeah.
That is registered.
Code is like someone is bilingual, maybe that this person have to code
Exactly.
because he spread in two ways.
Okay, so a bilingual person might have two codes, meaning two languages. So languages spoken in different countries are codes. Okay, but code is a concept that embraces not only languages spoken in different countries, but also sign language. Good, Andre, sign language. So, or the language used by people who cannot see, deaf people, right?
And sign language is a code too?
It's
Sign
a code.
language?
Yes,
Okay.
because a code is a system used for communication, but not only a linguistic system. Can be the language of bees, the sounds that animals make are also codes that they use to communicate.
Okay.
So the code is the correct word for all the systems that are used in the world to communicate.
Okay.
Monica?
Teacher, a question. The signs of transit is a code? Is a example?
Yes, it's a visual code to communicate.
Okay.
Very good. These hieroglyphs are also codes. Braille, Morse also, and all the languages that are spoken in different countries.
Maybe the what? This system for communication when you are the militaries, the army, they used to use about lights and points and lines.
Those are codes.
For example, SOS. What's the name of this code?
Don't
Morse?
remember.
Ah, okay. No, I can't see. Yes. It's over there. Sorry, I haven't seen it.
But they also use other codes for communication that they just know what it means. So all that is used to communicate something is a code. Okay, questions so far?
Teacher, I have a question.
Yes.
Even when sometimes we use the emojis when we are text, and some people understand when we send any specific emoji, we can call this code or not?
Yes, because people agree on the meaning of those images to communicate an idea.
Okay.
It's like these ones that were used in Egypt a long time ago. So they use it and they knew what each one of them meant, and they communicated in that way.
Okay. Thank you, teacher.
Okay, so remember the concept that embraces all the systems for communication is called a code, and language is like a more use for the ones that are spoken in different parts of the world. Okay. Any other question about it? I mean, no questions?
No question,
Okay,
teacher.
good. So let's continue reviewing the other concepts studied. Last week you read about varieties. And so we have elements in linguistics that are connected to varieties. So what are those linguistic elements? Or when we talk about varieties, we said that we could classify them in 3 different groups. Do you guys remember?
No, remember, teacher.
It's a specific form of languages, like clusters, or for example, the accents.
Very good, accents. So that is one element of the language. So accents are varieties, usually for different regions or for different countries where the same language is spoken. So we have the Chilean accent, the Ecuadorian accent, the Colombian accent, but inside each country we have the regional accents too. So accents is one of the linguistic elements. Which one is, or which is other element?
Teacher, we can talk about the different kind of variety in South America. For example, the Argentinian accent, Mexican variety, for example, Colombian variety.
Yes, linguists call them varieties to all the differences in differences that different people have using one language. So using Spanish, we have differences in countries where the same language is spoken and into the same language. But we have accent, but we have also other aspects of language that are connected to the topic of varieties. What are those concepts?
Teacher, but the standard Spanish is just one, really?
The standard is what people agree that is like the ideal use of language. So last time we talked about the idea that Spanish spoken in Bogota was the ideal accent of Spanish in Colombia, but it's just an ideology. Linguists say, or they study the different varieties in the regions, and they don't see any inconsistency in the way the language is structured. So they say the language is structured correctly. It's just a variety. It doesn't mean that it's better in the coast or in the south or in the center of the country. So the idea of having a standard is an ideology that is connected to politics and the power that people wants to give, that sociopolitics want to give to a certain variety. Okay. But what about the other elements of linguistics connected to?
Teacher, maybe can we say that, for example, the way people wear the clothes, stuff like this, in some parts of the country, maybe could be called linguistic elements. For example, when you see a person with a hat and in a horse, on a horse like this one that you have in this picture, can we say maybe it is a linguistic element because you immediately identify this person as one of the, I think maybe meta, I don't know, yes. And if you can see, for example, somebody with like the persons who are in the second picture at the right, with a hat and sombrero volteado, something like this, you identify so that they are maybe, or you can imagine this person is from the Atlantico, yes. So when you identify people like this, you can say that they come from some a specific part of the country, and maybe this is a linguistic element when you identify some person because of it, with no, how can we say this? Being not necessary that they speak, but only you seeing these persons, the way they dress, and this stuff like this can identify. You can identify those persons are from some part specific of the country.
So they are communicating that, right? They are saying,
yeah,
I am not from Bogota. I am from
the place they come from. Yes, they are communicating the place they come from. And maybe I can see this as a linguistic element.
No, it's non-linguistic, non-linguistic because they are not using words. So everything that is not connected to words is non-linguistic. So body language is non-linguistic. And the dress code or clothes are
non-linguistic. So elements are related only to the accent, syntaxes, whatever.
Exactly. Okay. Syntax is the other element.
Yes, the syntax. For example, the way they spell some words or something like that.
And the vocabulary is the other one. So there we have the three. So different accents, as Carol wrote in the chat box, regional varieties that are connected to different words. And as you mentioned, Andres, syntax. We sometimes have different syntax and we will see. So can you guys mention some, there we have the three aspects. Can you guys mention some words that are used in Colombia and that exemplify the concept of variety related to differences in vocabulary?
For example,
I got one.
Okay, go ahead, Andres.
No, dale, Daliana. Yo.
Daliana?
Sorry. For example, in Medellin, that use the word chompa.
In Bogota, how can we call it?
Bolsa.
Okay.
Please give me
bolsa, chuspa en el valle.
Chuspa. All right. Any other example of differences in vocabulary?
Maybe, teacher, if I say, for example, arrecho, it's the same thing, but this word means something different in, for example, in other parts of the country, but in Santander, it means that you're too angry, maybe. But for us, I think in the interior of the country, it means something different.
Yeah, angry versus hot or horny. Yeah. Horny is the word in English.
Horny.
For the meaning
or something difficult. That word.
Yes.
You're right.
That something was difficult or is difficult.
Okay, good. So that is one linguistic aspect that is connected to variety. The other linguistic aspect is accent. Here we have other examples of vocabulary. Berrinche, ñepe, zaguajal, cabrestero, charapo, ñongo. Well, that is, they are words connected to a region, and so varieties of Spanish in Colombia. Okay, now here, words, vocabulary connected to varieties, but in Latin America. So connected to varieties of Spanish in different countries where Spanish is spoken. Monica?
Teacher, for example, in Puerto Rico, guagua, in Colombia, bus.
Very good.
In Ecuador, guagua is a
Niño.
guaguitas is a child.
Yes.
Exactly. Very good. Any other?
Children, plural. Child or is female or male.
En España, bollo es a bread.
Un pan pequeño.
Ajá, yeah.
Sí.
In English, please.
Is it another word?
We hear like popo, right?
It depends where.
Okay, yes. Or it depends because if we are in the coast, it will be something that we eat, right?
Yeah, and
Yes.
some people used to say that to talk about a problem.
Or to say that a woman is beautiful.
Something that is beautiful?
What?
Caro? Caro, could you repeat?
Yeah, teacher, in the coast, they use the word bollo or bollito, like to say that a woman is beautiful.
I didn't know.
Me neither.
I have another word that is avocado. In Argentina, I use the word palta.
You're right. Palta and avocado. Okay, good. Right, here we have a chart. So here we have Gawa, as you mentioned, Bas, and here we have other ones like piscina, pileta, alberca, judías, porotos, frijoles, habichuelas, piso, departamento, apartamento. Okay, those are some of the variations of Spanish in Spanish-speaking countries. And also when we listen to a su orden y a la orden, also is a variety of vocabulary in Spanish. But we have also that in English. So we have the common words that are British and the ones that are American. So we have nappy and diaper, holiday and vacation, sweets and candy, lorry and truck, timetable and schedule, cooker and stove, chips and french fries, rubber and eraser, flat and apartment, and there are many, many others, right? So depending on... Daliana?
Yeah, teacher, what happens with the language that born from the same, for example, the language that born from the Greek? Those are also studied by a branch of the linguistics, or for example, we notice that are similarities between Portuguese, Spanish, or Italian, and it is because they born from the same race. It is called race.
Root.
Root. Okay. Yeah. Yes. So, which is the branch of the linguistics that studies these similarities, or?
Yes,
Okay.
social linguistics studies that because they have the same root, or they have they share borders. For example, Colombia and Venezuela share borders. So those people who live close to the borders usually have the same accent or use the same words. So for example, in Nariño, in that region, and people from Ecuador, they usually have a similar accent and they share some words, vocabulary that is similar. So that is a study by this branch of linguistics.
Teacher, For
Iván.
example, something similar that you are talking about to Ecuador and that region happened here where I live. The other day, the classmate Andres asked me where I live, and and the point is that even when we are in supposedly we are in the Cauca, we used to talk about like people from Valle del Cauca, and we talk with some expression from Cali, and when we talk with some people, we are 45 minutes from Cali, um, going to the south. Uh, but when you are maybe 30 minutes going to Popayán, maybe Piendamo or something like that, that people speak so different to us.
So do you feel that you belong more to people from Valle or people from Cauca?
What?
Do you consider that you belong more to people who are from Valle or from Cauca?
Dila? What? I don't understand the word.
Do you think that you belong or that
I
you
belong. To be honest, I've been in Popayan or on that part of the Cauca just twice. So here we have the half of our life in Cali.
mm,
So it's common that people from here it's obvious that there is there are people from Medellin, there are people from Pasto here in Santander, but the point is that the people that is born and raised here used to talk like people from Cali or used to go or think that belongs to Cali. But if we talk about geography, long time ago we were Valle, but and
mm,
even here there is the mountains are going to Popayan. Here is Valle like the geography.
yeah. So because you are closer to Cali, you
Yeah,
have that
Santander
accent.
is closer. Santander is closer to Cali than Popayán, although he's in Cauca.
Yeah, so to answer Carol's question, yes, for example, this is an example of a map that is trying to show different dialects or different varieties in UK regarding accent, use of vocabulary, and use of syntax. So this is like many dialects that make differences, that reveal differences in those three aspects of language. And if you speak one or the other variety, it makes you belong or identify more to one region than to the other. Okay, so we were talking about vocabulary. Sorry. And here we have other example. Soda and pop. This is an example of variety of vocabulary in USA.
Yes.
To refer to the same object.
Teacher, can I say something? I think that is something similar, but it's like a sample.
Sure.
Uh, I once, a long time ago, I were in a congress, and and there were people from all South America, but most of the people were from Colombia. And in one workshop that we were doing, asking to do I don't remember how it's a word to say that when you play with like children and play. Okay, in that moment, people say, okay, let's do this. arroz con leche, or let's do another one, but no one, everyone didn't know all the games. So one was the no for everyone, like
Chinese whisper, maybe?
mm,
Well, names of games.
yeah, but the kind of name that you are moving and things like that. So
Parades. No?
people start to sing agua de limón. Yeah, but when you go at the finish, everyone says something different. It was so funny, but I didn't know that. Everyone says something different, but because on that group were people from Cali, from Santander, from uh, Popayán, from Nariño, from Bogota, from Medellin, from Manizales, and it wasn't common to say the same words, but the point or the meaning was the same.
Yes, I don't know. Maybe you all have had experiences with people from different regions of the country, and sometimes we just don't understand one word because we don't use it.
Yes, teacher. Something like that happens in Venezuela, for example. People say refresco to refer a gaseosa, for example.
Yes, or if we say regalo when we ask for something in a store in Spain, so they are going to understand that you want a present. So,
Okay.
right, if
What
you
about
ask, me regala tal cosa, they are,
Okay.
in Spain, they are not going to understand that you just want to buy it, but that you really want it as a present.
teacher, this part, for example, when they say, is this a variety? For example, when people in Huila say, I have heard they say, está haciendo mucha calor. Even in Bogota, I think people speak like that. But we used to say mucho calor. ¿Sí? Está haciendo mucho calor. It's the genre of
Se caen los insectos acá encima de los aparatos, baby, después.
of the hot dog. I mean, okay, I mean, entonces lo que yo preguntaba es, o sea, si es, if for example, mucha calor o mucho calor, it could be considered a variety.
Yes, it is
The
a
way,
variety.
okay.
To change the gender of the word.
Yes,
Makes
okay.
it, or is an example of a variety.
Okay.
Okay, so we already checked this, and we also have varieties of English spoken in different countries. American, British, Australian, Canadian, Indian, Jamaican, New Zealander, South African English. So in all those countries, we can see varieties of accent, varieties of vocabulary, and sometimes varieties of syntax. For example, this example. It's not that common, but it's an example. So although the verb means the same, we construct the question in a different way. So we have the have got is more common in British English than in American English.
But teacher, even in the same English, we can find this kind of words or expressions.
Yes, in all the languages have varieties in those three aspects: accent, vocabulary, and syntax. And it doesn't mean that one variety is better than the other. No, it's just that is part of a regional identity. Okay, so we have the concept of dialect. Do you guys remember what is it?
Dial.
Teacher, I'm not sure, but it could be referred to the social states, to the change of the social states in a country.
Social class?
Yes.
A little bit, a little bit.
It's like a rule? A
No,
no?
no. Okay, so for linguists, varieties is the same as dialects. What happens is dialect is a word used to express that is a non-standard variety. For linguists, all the different varieties spoken are the same. I mean, there is not a standard one. But for people who don't study the language, they call dialects to those varieties that are not the standard one. So in our case, dialect will be the language, the varieties spoken in the coast, in the south, in other regions that are different to Bogota. Because the standard is what is because of the power that the city has regarding politics, regarding relationship with other countries, regarding the status of the capital city. So that makes it that for socio-political issues, this languages, the variety spoken in Bogota is called the standard one. Right? So if you are asked what is a dialect, so it's the non-standard language, the non-standard variety for people who don't study linguistics. For people who study linguistics, all the varieties are the same. Any question about this concept?
No, teacher, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what other concept here. We have other concepts, social identity. So look, here we have an example of a sentence in Cantonese and a sentence in Mandarin. They say the same. I am Norwegian is the translation to English. But look at the way it is written, and the second line is the way it is pronounced. Is it similar or different?
Very different.
So what are the characters that are different? The way it is written.
Yes, it's written the same. They both are alike. Are like the same, but
almost the same. Because look at this one, number 2.
Ah, yeah, changes, and but the pronunciation maybe thing is different.
It's very different.
No jump. Washi no will ring.
Exactly, it's very different the way it is pronounced. But if you ask a person who speaks Cantonese and you ask a person who speaks Mandarin, if they speak the same language, they would say that they do. They would say that they speak Chinese, right? So for
this could be something like, for example, sorry, teacher, maybe this be compared with, for example, British and American English, some parts of the spelling, for example, center and centra, right? Or recognize and recognize with S or with Z, because they change just little a character of the word. Yeah, they change only one part, but
Yeah.
at the end it means the same thing. Just only the spelling, they change some part. And maybe I think I can compare this with the difference between American English and British English. I think.
That's a good example. However, if you ask a British person,
Yes.
if when you say center, they
Yes.
will tell you don't you are speaking American. So they won't say you are speaking English, but you are speaking American. So
Center.
when they say that, it's because they don't have a social identity with the people who belong to North America. They
Yes.
see themselves as different. Something different happens in China. So
Yes.
in China, people want the rest of the world consider themselves as people who belong to one country, and they speak Chinese, not all the dialects or varieties that we have there. Monica, you raise your hand. Monica. Okay.
Hello, sorry. Teacher, an example of social identities are race, I don't know, or social class, social economic.
Yes. So if you want other people to identify you as a person who belongs to, let's say, high social class, or who belongs to an indigenous community, so you will use some accent and you will use some words that make you belong to that community of speakers. So you identify yourself as a person who belongs to that community. So it is connected, social identity is connected to race, to ethnicity also, but also in this example to a country. So in this case, it's the opposite that happens between British and Americans. They don't want the world identify them as speakers of the same English. They say he speaks British and he speaks American. They don't
Teacher,
say we speak English.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay.
I don't know, but it also happens between South America and Spain, because in Spain they say that they talk Castellano, and they don't like that we say we talk Spanish, because they consider that our Spanish is like is a, is speaking as a bad way. I don't know how to explain that, but they have this concept.
Yeah, that's true. So
The
that
same
is,
thing. The same thing as British and American, because it's supposed that British English was first, not? It's Anglo-Saxon. Uh, and then they established in UK. Then England come to colonize North America, and then Americans start speaking English, um, but the mother tongue is from UK. The English is the origins of English in America. It's coming from UK, right? So it's
exactly.
the same thing that you say, because our Spanish is have come from Spain. They say they speak very pure Spanish or clear Spanish. I don't know how to say.
Yeah, Castellano, they say, as Carol
Yes.
mentioned.
But even on Spain, they have the same division about who speak good Spanish, because
I,
they used to say something like you are talking Andalus, and you listen, and the words are they have something different, but you say it's Spanish too.
Uh-huh. Sometimes it can be fun. For example, in Colombia, we can say, he speaks costeño, he speaks caleño, he speaks antioqueño. It might be fun, but sometimes it is said in a way that you just want other people understand that they are not the same. They belong to different communities.
Yes.
So those are very good examples of social identity.
Yes. Teacher,
For
and
example,
here,
Caro?
you first. You first, Carl.
teacher, something
Dale.
that is curious to me is, for example, foreign people related to the music that they heard, for example, reggaeton, they thinks that Colombian people speak with a specific accent. For example, most of the people, foreign people, thinks that in Colombia only speaks with the Paisa accent because they heard this kind of music, and they assume that we only speak with this accent in the whole country.
Yeah, a lot of people abroad
Mhm.
have met many people from Antioquia, and so they identify Colombian people as people who have that accent.
Teacher is because Netflix series too. I believe it is the main reason. And
Yeah,
it's
sure.
about
Media is powerful, so everything that is in the news, in the TV programs, in newspapers, in books, make other people think that that is the variety that everybody speaks, which is not true.
Yeah, I think, for example, it's curious. For example, in Europe, English and American, I think maybe they trying to have the same structures for grammar. For example, when they speak in past tense, uh, they try to, for example, in Spain, they say something like this. If something just happened yesterday, for example, they say, um, ayer he estado en un restaurante y he comido tal cosa, right? They speak like perfect tense, always when they refers to the past. But here in America, we speak in past, in simple past. For example, we say, yo ayer estuve en el restaurante y comí pasta. Yeah, we use the past, the simple past tense, and they use always in Spain. They try to use the perfect tense. In British English, they use the the perfect tense when they say, for example, have got. When they say, I have got a car, right? I have got whatever, right? But for example, in American English, they say I simple I have, or I had, something like this, right? So what I mean is that they trying to have the same roots, or maybe the same structure in Europe, and here in America we have another. Maybe here is twisted, but they have those things in common, right? For example, British and Spanish from Europe, and English and Spanish from America are the same thing. They change a lot.
That's a good example of variety of structure, syntax variety of Spain
Yes.
and, for example, the Spanish in Colombia regarding the use of past. Good.
Yes.
Okay, look at we talked about the standard English, right? So what is the ideology behind the standard English? What do people think about standard English, or why do people classify it as a standard?
It has
teacher.
to do with power.
It is connected to power. What else, Carol?
Teacher, because of the globalization, because this language is one of the most talking around the world.
Okay, the one that is more spoken, the one that has more speakers, the variety that has more speakers.
And
What
because
else?
the politics power also teacher, because the politics,
Okay.
because the stronger countries, they speakers speaks in English.
Because the society of groups, social groups, they trying to manage or run the same things, and they try to be uniform by something. So they trying to have the same ideology in some parts. So this is recognized as a standard. The standard is something that is is the same thing maybe in a majority of groups or in a group with something trying to be the same. I can say this is a standard. So when we speak about ideology, if a big group of persons trying to think the same thing or have the same ideas, we can say this is a standard too.
All right. Any other thing connected to ideology of a standard?
No.
So when we say, that's the standard language is, as you mentioned, the one that is thought to be recognized abroad, the one that is going to give you power because it's the one that is used to make business or to do important things. So, and there you have. Is the one that is like the recognized one, like as Andres mentioned, that doesn't change, which is not true because all varieties change. So the ideology that is the variety that doesn't have any change. That the accent is always the same, vocabulary is the same, people who speak it has the power, and is the one that is recognized abroad. That is an ideology. It's not something real. That is why it is called ideology. Okay, any question about that concept?
Not.
Okay, finally, we have the process of standardization of a language. So we say that the Spanish spoken in Bogota is a standard in Colombia, is because we use certain elements to make people believe that. So those elements are like the dictionaries. So you will find out the words used in Bogota. You will find them in the dictionary, and you will find variety. For example, chuspa, word used in the southwest part of Colombia. What was the other word? Chuspa, bolsa, what was the other? So you mentioned?
Pollo.
Okay,
Yes.
so bollo, something to eat on the coast, something beautiful on the coast, a difficulty in, let's say, in the center of the country, on the center of Colombia. So that's what you find in the dictionaries. It's a mean to communicate, is a way to communicate others that the standard are the words used in Bogota, and the varieties are the ones that are used in other parts of Colombia. So it happens with all the languages. Do you
Exactly,
remember?
teacher. Okay.
Amin?
In fact, something like that happened here in Villavicencio. For example, the people in Villavicencio to refer to limonada, the people say preparada. For example.
Yeah, so you will find in the dictionary of Spanish English preparada. translation into English, lemonade. You won't find it. You will find out the word used in Bogota, which is a way that has been used to standardize the variety used in Bogota as the standard Spanish used in Colombia. What are other ways elements used to standardize a language?
What another what?
Elements or ways to help to the standardization of a language. So through dictionaries, what else?
Through dictionaries, system of writing, no?
For example, what do we use to teach in our classes at school?
How what, teacher?
What elements do we use to teach English at schools? Because we teach a standard English.
Yeah, the curriculum that the government suppose give us.
Okay, the government gives us a curriculum.
Standard.
Where else do students find out examples of the use of language in our classes?
Books?
In books, right. So the books that we use to teach English are the ones that are written in Cambridge University, that is British English, but also Cambridge needs to buy lots of books, so they can also create books that are written in American English. So, but the standard one, the standard, so the accent and the vocabulary spoken in London and in Washington.
But
right?
but most of the time the books of Cambridge are from American English.
They have both, because Cambridge
Yeah,
is
but
from London.
what we used to use on classes, it's difficult find that kind of books with English from British English.
It is, and you won't have, most of the audios won't be about accent in Texas or accent, African American accent. No, most of the examples are from the standard English in North America, the one spoken in Washington.
Teacher, I have a question. It also happens in the exams, international exams, for example, TOEFL or IELTS?
Yes, so
I mean,
most of the examples are not from English spoken in India or English spoken in Australia. No, Cambridge has a line of exams that is the PET, CAT, and FCE, and the last one that is the IELTS. And in those tests, you will have audios with a British accent, mostly.
British accent, yes.
Most
And
of
spelling
them.
and spelling for the written part also they have the British influence.
Exactly. So in IELTS, CAT, and PET, you will
Yes,
find out
IELTS and Cambridge, or IELTS, Kai, and I don't know what other, but for example, TOEFL, I think this is very American, so the TOEFL and ITEP. I don't know, maybe you know ITEP is kind of new, but they both are American, very American. The audios are very American in their accents.
Exactly, but not the standard of the English is spoken in North America, not the ones that we talked, like the Texas accent or the African American accent. No, the standard one. So yes,
Standard.
you will find out the standard in international tests.
So they try to be neutral, but they try to be neutral. For example, for the British English, they try to be neutral, not to, for example, for example, here in Colombia, we have, we speak Spanish, and in Mexico, they speak another accent in Spanish, right? And if we have some assessment in Spanish, I think that we have to standardize the accent for the learners, or for the people who is going to present this exam, this Spanish exam, and they came from English spoken countries. Yes.
But that's an ideology, Andres, because there is no neutral language. All are varieties. It's just because we want to sell a standard for social political reasons.
But teacher, for example, when I hear or when I watch a movie, or I see some film from America, from Hollywood, for example, and it comes translated to Spanish, I can. It's very difficult for me to identify what accent of Spanish is it. For example, I don't know if maybe it was translated in Mexico or in Chile or Colombia, because it's a very neutral accent in their Spanish. So that's what I mean. That's what I want to say. For example, when the IELTS, for example, when the IELTS assessment it's made, I think they build this exam with people who try to pronounce or have an accent more kind of neutral for the British. Okay, so we know that it's British, but it's not it's not trending to the north of UK. It's not trending to the south. It's not trending to the center. Right?
It's to the center.
British, yeah.
It is the accent of the center. I mean, it's the accent in London.
Okay.
It's like if you listen to the news, you will identify the accent from Bogotá, not the accent from the coast, from Llanos, from the other regions. And it's because of the process of standardization. It's because of that.
Teacher, but I have a similar. I don't know if you already answered that, but I have a similar question about that. I was thinking on that the other class, and when I was making the reading, when I start to learn English, I learned watching TV, and yeah, we get a variety of English that could be like a standard, but we know thanks to this class that isn't a standard. But the point is that when I at that time when I tried to watch news, for example CNN or something like that, or Fox, uh, I I understood what they saying, but it wasn't as easier than understand the other English, you know. So uh, sometimes when I listen the English in different places or different situations, the English is something different, but no. For example, when I watch something like Al Jazeera, that is a news channel. Al Jazeera is international, so the English is like easier to everyone. But when you are watching something like BBC or ABC, they use words that are more for people that is a native speaker, or is
No, it's
or is
British. It's
some
other accent.
is a perception that the people have,
It's
or is
because you
another
have.
way.
It is because you are used to listen to a North American accent. It's because of that. But the best that you can do is to listen to different accents, to watch people, to watch movies with an Indian accent, or to watch program that is from New Zealand, or to watch the news from London, etc. So you are get used to different accents, because as English is spoken in different parts of the world and in different regions, it is better that you get used to those accents.
Yeah, but I say at the beginning that was on that time. I did that what you are advise me, and but I have that I had that question about that. It was something like that, or that I was thinking, or now I know that is different with the answer that you give me. Get
Yes, it's like if you always watch the channels of Bogota, so you will get used to this accent. But if you watch the other channels from the other regions, so you will understand, or a English English speaker will understand the accent from different regions in Colombia. Um, I can tell you an experience I had. I met 3 women from USA, and they had learned Spanish in different countries. One went to Peru, the other went to Argentina, and the other went to Mexico. And each one of them got the accent and the words from those countries. So they were American people speaking Spanish with different accents depending on the contact they had in different countries.
Yes, I've got a friend who is from UK, and she came to South America. She establishes in Argentina, and her accent is Argentine. So
Exactly.
it's like
So you
that
say,
because
are you from Argentina or did you learn there? Because
yes. Uh-huh.
very good. Any question? We're going to finish with a very short quiz. So we talked about, please use this link. I'm going to show you how it works. Okay, what you have to do is to put all these words in front of the corresponding category. So we have, and please do that using the columns, first, second, and third column. So you start with the first column. So soda is a type of, is an example of a variety. So you will do the same with the other words. Turn taken is a word connected to the idea of interaction, etc. When you are done, you just click on finish. Okay, so this is the link. It's not going to take you long. Oh, there you have.
How long?
There are 23 words. I think it's gonna take you 5 minutes.
teacher is not working. I put the word, for example, in varieties, but no paste.
Because
You
maybe
could
you
you
are,
share your screen, Ami?
maybe you are right.
Wait. Mm,
You need to put it in front of the name of the category. There you have.
ah, wait. Sorry.
Don't worry.
But,
Almost done, almost done. Oh my God.
Teacher, can I share with you my screen because I can put some words.
Yes, sure.
I don't know what's happened. Mm. Teacher,
Not that close to Sora, a little bit far
Sometimes
from
it's difficult to try to pass it.
there.
all right, teacher. But in the other one, you see that is too long. Here,
Doesn't
teacher,
want
I have to put it here, or
Social dialects. It's because could you scroll down, please, Carol? The studies the relationship between language and social class doesn't go there. It's not the correct
okay.
answer for that.
Okay, teacher, let me stop sharing.
Okay. It doesn't want to paste. Why sometimes it's so difficult to paste a teacher?
It's because of the software. Doesn't make that easy to work on that drag and drop. So I will have to change it next time to a different option.
Teacher, something curious happened. I have a lot of mistakes, but even your answers are wrong.
let me see, man. Let me see share your screen, please.
Your answers are wrong. Wait. I just have two.
Teacher.
Okay. Yes, no, but not all those.
Yeah.
Coach. You know why? Because it's because the software doesn't understand if the words are not organized in the same way I organize them. That's why I ask you to start with the first column. For example, in codes, the first word that is there is Morse and not French. It's because of the order.
No, it's so hard to do that with the order because we don't know the order.
Yeah, no, that's why I ask you to organize the words using or starting with this first column. But let's check. Let's check everybody. So we have could you scroll up? Thank you. So we have power. We have.
But I can.
No, but that is difficult to read. Could you please stop sharing your screen?
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, let's review at the same time. So for power, we have what words?
I think I got it. So do I have to finish it or?
You can click on finish, yes. I mean, what words do you have for power?
Studies the classroom.
Oh my.
No, I don't. What words do
Red.
you have for power?
What red means?
Teacher,
Oh my.
I didn't understand the concept of power.
Okay, this it's because you join us after I explain that concept. But let's see, Carol, do you have the answers for power?
Yes, teacher. I use their. What happened here? I can see. I use their religions, approval, position.
Approval,
I
yes.
use
What else? Religion, no.
um, positions,
Position.
and I use these three words, teacher.
Okay, favor too. So if you say excellent, very good, or you give always the floor to the same student, Andrea answered the question, Andrea answered question number 2, Andrea answered the question number 3. So you favor one student. You position the student as the one that always gives the answers. And if the other classmates don't say anything, they approve. They approve that power. Okay, now with interaction, we have turn taken. What else, Daliana, for example?
Interactions. I put I only put to turn taking teacher
Okay.
for a moment.
And take the floor. Take the floor.
Okay.
Es decir, tomarse la palabra.
Okay.
O respetar los turnos. Micro social linguistics, Andrés. What you have?
No, I failed there. I had studied the relationship between language and social class, so
Yes.
I failed.
And the other one is studies classroom interaction. Macro. Who has the answer for
It
me?
also studies the relationship.
Religion?
No. What did you say, Carol, for macro?
Oh, teacher, I understood you that studies the relationship between language and social class is also in microlinguistics, or
Yes.
no?
Yes, both of them.
Macro, the limits
Use it-
speech communities. The macro.
Okay, good, Ivan. So macro delimits speech communities with the maps. Remember the maps about the accents in USA or dialects in UK. So macro, social linguistics have those maps. And micro is what we do in classes when we study classroom interaction or when we see what is the connection between language and social class. Then we have codes. What words do we have for codes?
Morse,
It's
French, Morse,
Braille,
Braille, French.
Right. Okay, what words do we have for varieties? Soda and what else?
Sweets,
Sweets. What
coke,
else?
cold,
candies.
Candies.
Exactly. Okay, what words do we have for dialect? A dialect is?
A
standard variety.
non-standard variety.
A non-standard variety. Good. Elements used to standardize a language.
Books,
Dictionary.
literature,
Dictionaries. Literature and what else?
Books.
literature, books.
Okay. Factors related to social dialects.
Religions,
Mhm.
ethnies, social
Social
classes,
classes.
festives.
I fell in the order, so I got one of them wrong.
Yeah, because of the order. So that
Because of the order.
Sometimes jump.
resist is related to power. Hmm? What's wrong here? Okay, I don't know what's wrong with that. But here,
La vieja Sarita le hace reloj. ¿Sí? Sí. ¿Pero qué pasó? ¿Se
try
escaparon
to
y qué
check
pasó?
because of resist.
Y ella ya cogió, le dio un beso y ella se le volvió, mejor dicho. Y...
Carol, silent, please.
Resist.
Okay, yeah, resist goes here. Because of the order, maybe it doesn't get it. Good, so we could like probably review it again next week, some of the concepts, or if you have questions, you can ask next week, right?
Right, teacher.
Okay.
Thanks.
So thank you for your participation. See
Teacher,
you. Tell me, Ivan.
can I ask you something about communication?
Sure. Yes.
The questions, where are the questions about the task?
In the forum. The name of the forum is, let me check right now.
Because you on the last task you put that on a Word file, but this time there isn't a Word file. I'm gonna check now.
Yeah, look for in the forum of Unit 3. The forum the unit
Can I hang up
interaction.
the
What, Andres?
hang up?
Do you have
Can
a
I
question?
hang up the? No.
Okay,
Can
okay. I
hang
see.
up
I
the
didn't check that. I didn't go that the first time. Thank you, teacher.
Okay. Questions?
No questions.
No.
Okay, good. Have a good night, everybody. See you.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you.
Yes, see you next class. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Que no me quedaba, no pegaba.